going on, guys? We are going to talk about flipping grass. Holy cow, one of my favorite things to do. Beautiful Minnesota bass. Wow. Good one. He was out a little bit. What? What? Oh, look at that Minnesota bass. What? Sweet. Wow. Yes, sir. He had to find that one in the grass. Just had one little spot right there that was just thicker than everything else. I've already brought most of the grass in, but it was that little spot. Let me get the camera still. It's right there. It's just thicker right there, and I threw right in, and I got it hung on the top. I mean, this is 1.25 ounces weight, and it got hung on the top, and I shook it and shook it and shook it. He came up and hit it like he would a frog, and he didn't get it, and I shook it until it fell down, and then he thumped it, and I just pulled back and set the hook. That was awesome. This is my favorite, actually in my top 5 favorite ways to catch fish. Oh, I love it. Fish. Yep. Didn't feel that bite. Here's one. Just a matter of time. Good one too. Just being patient is all I'm doing. It's just being real patient, throwing it in there and just kind of shaking it around and bouncing up and down, and then bringing it up to that canopy and shaking it on that canopy and letting it sit there. And I'm getting bites that way. I'm getting bites when it hits the bottom. It's just not one particular way that they want it, but the way I'm doing it's working. So like I said, I'm in Minnesota and the wind's blowing really bad. So I found one of these little bitty lakes, slid the boat down the boat ramp, and I'm sitting here fishing the way that I know how to fish, the way that I figured them out. And what we've got is we've got a lake that's surrounded by grass. Several different types of grass. We've got lily pads, we've got milfoil out a little bit deeper, and we got wild rice, acres and acres and acres of wild rice. And so what's happening with this wind is the rice that has been pulled up or dead or whatever is blown up against the wind, you know, the wind-blown banks and matted up. And we got a little bit of duckweed in there, the brown duckweed, and so I grabbed, when I see matted vegetation right on the edge of a break, and it drops pretty steep right here all the way around the lake, and I see matted vegetation, I tie on a Texas rig. Okay, and this is a punch rig is what this one is, and it's because this matted vegetation, or this matted rice grass, is so thick. I've got 1.25 ounces weight on there, and I'm punching. I can barely punch it through, and there are places where I can't, and I really ought to have 1.5 ounces, but I'm just flipping every thick matted or thick mat of grass that's along the outside edge. And the reason I'm doing that is because I've done several things. I've fished all the way in with frogs, I've fished all the way in by flipping, and I've done it, made hundreds and hundreds of casts inside the grass line, and haven't gotten bitten. I mean, just not even once have I gotten bit inside the grass line. I got one fish on a frog outside the grass line, just barely, but it came out from the edge, and every single bite that I've gotten in these mats has been really close to that outside edge. So that's basically what I'm doing. I think I've got a fish. Nope, just kind of slid down the grass weird. And literally it was by the process of elimination. I mean, multiple casts to the same type of things without a result is just as good as multiple casts to one specific thing with results. And so I've done that. I've fished thin grass, I've fished the lily pads, I've fished the duckweed, I fished outside, inside, and every bite has come where I can find the thickest mat, and it has to be at least about this big is what it seems like. Anything smaller or a skinny mat, it doesn't work. And then it has to be on the wind-blown point. Well, that's the only place I'm finding them, because the wind has blown them up and matted them up. And so if it's not wind-blown, there's not going to be mats anyway. At least, you know, a couple of miles of shoreline has told me that. So let me show you. I haven't hit this one yet, so there's liable to be a fish under it. So I got a wind-blown point. I got matted vegetation that's right here, and I'm gonna pick the outside edge of it and flip that thing in there, and I'm letting it sink to the bottom, and then I'm bringing it up to the top underneath the canopy that these mats are creating, and I'm shaking it and I'm letting it fall back down. Typically they're going to bite on the very first fall, but I've had several of them bite after I've shaken it a little bit, almost like they had to find it. But there's a lot of room up underneath that grass, a ton of room for the bass to hide, and when you catch one, there's going to be more in that same area. So that's why I'm like that. Oh, I think he got off. Nope, he's still there. Got him. Whew. And I don't think that's the only one that's in that mat. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Now the tough thing about this type of grass, being wild rice, it's tough as nails. I'm telling you, you really have to work to get this stuff off of your line. Gets hung in there real easy, but can't just rip out of it. And that brings up another point. It's really important to try to keep your bait, your soft plastic, as fresh as you possibly can. If that hook keeps coming out, it's just going to be miserable in that wild rice. Any kind of thick grass is just going to get hung up with every single cast. It's not going to punch through very easy. And I'm going to go a little bit further back in that mat, kind of mess around with it. He was in the prime spot. He was right on the leading edge of that mat is where he was. And it is hard to feel a bite in this kind of wind. That's why it's 65-pound braid, 8 foot extra heavy rod. Ooh, that wind's blowing. Wow. All right, we're going to work our way up to the next mat. Of course, the sun is right in your eyes, isn't it? All right, so we're going to work our way up to the next mat that's really thick and good sized. And I literally can go from, I can bypass all of this water until I see a good thick mat, and then I'm going to flip to it. So anything that's borderline, I'll flip to it too. There's one right up here that's a little borderline. It's inside the grass. The wind's really not blowing on it, but you never know. There might be just enough wind to have a fish right on the outside edge. Let me turn to it and show you. It's that one right there. So watch. Shake it, get it go down. All right, we're gonna go up to the next one. All right, so we come up to the next one. Put one right on the edge, shake it, get it to fall down. There's definitely a fish under there. I just got to find it. All right, so if I was a fish sitting in this mat, I'd be in the leading edge right there. Man, it's thick. Squeeze in a little closer. See, it should be right there. Should be a fish right here somewhere. Right on that leading edge. Unbelievable, there should have been a fish there. Maybe I'm fishing too far in. Let's get right here on the edge. That was an unexpected bite. That was definitely an unexpected bite. He thumped it though. Oh, I love flipping grass. Absolutely love it. You know, if you got the right equipment and you got the right grass, just matted grass, and the bait fish are in here and everything goes right, you can absolutely have a great day. And it's one of my favorite bites. So, but like I always say, guys, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing, introduce them to my channel, let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go out and catch some fish, and have a great day. We'll see ya.